Today we are talking about
the disadvantages of raising the
debt ceiling!
So debt ceiling is basically the amount of debt that a country is allowed to have, and if the government is unable to cover its budgets and the maximum debt limit is reached, then it makes it harder for the country to make financial deals with other countries, which in turn affects the global economy.
It has never actually occurred in the U.S. where the debt ceiling was reached and Congress did not raise it long term. However, it has occurred when the debt ceiling was reached and Congress waited 3.5 months to 4.5 months. It happened in 1985, 1995, and in 2002, where Congress waited 3 to 4 months to raise it, and even then it did not really cause any problems, so we're not really sure what would happen if over long term it was not raised. However, what most likely would happen we would have to prioritize our debts and our spending, and yeah.
There have only been a few cases in U.S. history where the debt ceiling has been kept at a same point, but these cases have only been for a few months, so we really don't know what negative effects could occur from not raising the debt ceiling. What we do know is that trade and the world market weren't affected during these few months. If anything, this could benefit relations between us and the companies that we borrow and trade from, like Russia, China, Japan. We'd be forced to cut spending because we wouldn't be able to borrow as much money. This would spur innovation to make products cheaper and easier. If we continue down the road that we're on now, massive amounts of inflation can accumulate, eventually leading to a collapse. We wouldn't be able to pay back our loans and our economy would collapse.
So what happens to the United States if they decide to stop raising the debt ceiling? That depends entirely on when Congress decides to make that decision. As previously stated, Congress never not raised the debt ceiling, but they have delayed doing so for several months. And there wasn't nationwide panic as some lead you to believe. If the Congress did make the decision, it'd be up to the U.S. Treasury to make the tough and rational choices as to which of America's financial obligations would have to be made first and which programs would have to sustain a budget cut to make those payments happen. If there was more attention being paid to where the currency is going, then the United States will undergo far less severe circumstances than if we waited and then other countries came knocking on our door asking to get paid and bleeding us dry.